Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 225. That is Jeff, the Funeral Commander Harbison. I am Ryan Thogmartin, and this is the Funeral Professions Only weekly news show. And we've got a good one today, a bunch of banter around an in-person gathering. But first, what the rocket fuel for this show is you got it on your cap and on your shirt there.
No, I'm just a C&J guy this morning. You know, I woke up feeling C&J. It's Monday, and we're out here doing the work. Let's go ahead and roll that video real quick.
We may be the largest insurance assignment company in the funeral profession, but that doesn't mean we've lost touch with our roots. Here in Rainbow City, Alabama, our priorities still come down to a welcoming smile and a handshake that says we keep our promises. With all the tools and technologies that assure blazing fast turnaround, what really matters is much more old school. Personal responsibility, integrity, relationships, and the pride that comes from hearing yet another client say, "You came through for us when it mattered." C&J eliminates the challenges that funeral homes have in processing insurance death claims. If cash flow is vital to your business, welcome home.
You know, something that we're doing a great job at C&J, in fact, we just came out with it, is we're really, really fast on turning these applications around. And what I'm saying is it'll take less than 2 minutes to do our data entry. So let's talk about that one-on-one. A little later, but let's go on with the show. So last week we went to the Supplier Invitational here in our background in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, where there was probably 50 to 60 suppliers, vendors, professionals that gathered. And the tone of the meeting was what we believe meetings should be about. There was no presentation. We all talked amongst ourselves with each other, and there were some great conversations going on. What was your perspective, Ryan?
It was phenomenal. You know, I mean, this started out as the Live Oak Bank Roundtable, 3 years ago, I believe. You and I were part of, I think, 10 or 15 companies that were like the inaugural roundtable, and it's evolved now to this Supplier Invitational, because what's more from that roundtable was, it wasn't the presentations that were most valuable. It wasn't the dinners. It was absolutely the networking. And we needed that networking to be able to engage with each other, to be able to have some pretty deep conversations, like on a strategy level. It's the best conversation I've had in 15 months. And there's a lot of conversation, and there's representatives from multiple associations there. And there's conversation around, like, okay, what makes a gathering valuable for the supplier side, because we're the ones fronting the bill for all of these conferences and things. And so there's a lot of good conversation happening, and we got to shout out Live Oak Bank and the Foresight companies who both in partnership sponsored and put this event together. 3 days of golf, but 3 days of intense networking that was insanely valuable.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, Live Oak Bank and Foresight, thank you for bringing us all together. It was done first class, by the way. And of course, the golf is always fun, but the golf also, we were mixed with people so that we could have conversations. There were competitors there, which is fine, because again, we talked about what needs to happen. You know, in one sense, there were really no competitors, because we all considered ourselves supplier vendors first. So there wasn't that sort of aura whatsoever, which I think was absolutely awesome. But there were some great solution ideas coming up. For instance, taking all the supplier vendors and, let's just call it Las Vegas, planning in Vegas from Sunday till the next Sunday, and whatever group wants to be there, have your own hotel, have your own meetings, have your own CEUs, but the suppliers are in the hall. Come see us, because we're only going to do this one time.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of positive support for something like that. We just came out of a pandemic, okay? Funeral homes are operating different, and so are supplier vendors. Why are we going to keep doing this same old dog and pony show, set up, wait for people to walk by us? No, I think those days have literally gone past. We won't see that sort of convention in the future.
That's right. And I mean, someone even said it in a conversation with us that suppliers ought to be the ones setting the tone here and controlling it and controlling the narrative. We've really taken a back seat historically and allowed everyone else to set, okay, this is where you show up, this is the time you show up, this is where you stand, and we'll open doors and hopefully people will come talk to you, and there's no guarantee of any type of return on investment. So why can we not take that into our own hands and create an atmosphere? And you and I have talked about it on the show, like, what's it look like when we partner together and do some regional things where it's networking and it's actual value conversation, not, hey, come by our booth and let's give you a free pin.
Yeah. It's not Halloween, to walk around with your bag and fill it up with so much junk, tchotchkes. So I think this has been and will be the impetus for change in the future, because I don't think there was anyone at this particular gathering that wants to see exactly what we're doing move forward. I don't think the virtual shows have any value whatsoever to suppliers. None. I'll just say that. We don't have any value. We'll show up. We have people sitting there waiting for you to, quote, walk by the booth, and that nothing happens. So that's a proven fact. Virtual for suppliers and vendors, no. Go ahead and have your meeting and move on. In person, it does have value because that's where we see each other. Right. But it's not necessarily on the show floor. It's actually more where we're together at a cocktail party or having a cigar. More conversation comes out of that than it does just standing there waiting for you to come by and get your free pen or stress ball.
That's right. That's right. We've said it for years that the most valuable part of an in-person conference is the bar. And it's where the networking happens, it's where the truth happens, and it's where the conversation happens. And as we're in the midst of a massive amount of change in this profession, we can't continue down the same path on the supplier side. We've got to do things differently because suppliers have been affected by the pandemic just as everybody else has been affected by the pandemic. And you and I have said it again, the ones that, the suppliers that have been set up and controlled their own narrative from the get-go and created their own network and their own email lists and their own social media channels where they have an audience to communicate, have thrived through this entire thing because the conversation never stopped. Those that relied only on in-person events and salespeople on the road in person have struggled because they haven't done the change and pivoted to be able to control that narrative. And now I think that we've got enough understanding of what's most valuable to us as individual companies, and we need to now start exercising the collective opportunities that we have to control the narrative and create value that actually gives us a return on investment.
Exactly. And I foresee that happening. I believe that this group will informally continue to grow, and especially with the folks who were in attendance, they were there to listen. So I have some hope for the future, if you will. But anyway, We've got a busy week at work, both of us, and we have something special coming up on 2/6. Is that correct? 2/26.
Yep, 2/26.
All right, and we'll launch that a little later on this week. But you've got stuff to do there, I can tell, because the sun's shining and you're in the shade. We got to get back into the house and go to work.
Right. That's right. Let's make it happen. It was good to see you this past week, and we're 20 minutes apart now, so we can see each other a lot more and do some of this in person.
That's going to happen. All right, buddy. Well, thank you so much. And hey, let us know what you think. If you're a vendor, if you're not, if you're some type of provider, or, as a funeral professional, what would you like to see for conventions? What makes sense to you out there?
That's right.
How would you like us to serve you?
That's good. That's good. Okay. Put it in the comments. And until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.